everybody, Jerry Taggart here. Now be sure to watch Chris and Leicester Till I Die TV by subscribing on YouTube and following them on social media for all the latest Leicester City news and information. Come on, you foxes!
Hello, it's me again. Yes, you've had me Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and now Friday. Can you get enough of me? I can, so you must be able to. Welcome along. It's Friday. Still happy from last night. It was a great game Thursday night when we played Braga, a good 4-0 win. And that links very nicely into this evening's show, which being on a Friday is the Opposition View. And we are back to Premier League action with a home game on Sunday at the King Power, of course. 2 o'clock kickoff, live on Sky, not pay-per-view. And we are going to be playing Wolves. If you are watching on Facebook, then can I ask you to sort of possibly sign in, if you would do, please, and then that way we can see your name. Otherwise you'll just come up as Facebook user and I won't know who I'm talking to. We're also available live on YouTube. If you sign into our YouTube channel, Leicester Till I Die TV, you can find us live on there as well. But welcome along. Like I say, it's nice to have you all here. We're playing Wolves, and I did say to James, and we're being joined by James Wynn, who's a extremely young Wolves fan, and I've gone off him already because he doesn't remember when he wasn't around when Mark McGee was was managing. So. And I feel like his granddad now, you know, but Mark McGee is the guy that's made me hate Wolves. Typical Leicester fan, typical football fan. I hate Mark McGee because he walked out on us to go to Wolves, but the fact that he walked out on Reading to come to us, hey, that's fine, you know. But I'm going on a long time. Let me get James in. Just a couple of quick hellos first of all. Good evening, Rob. Thanks very much. How are you doing? And Lee Chappers, nice to have you along, Lee. Welcome along, mate. How you doing? Nice to see you. Anyway, also going to be nice to see this young man here, James. Good evening, James.
Good evening, Chris. How are you?
I'm all right, but you made a happy man feel very old tonight. You know? But, hey, yeah, both of us, you know, having a good season, and it's back with Wolves at the Premier League this season. Who obviously talking of being old, are one of the 12 founders of the Football League itself. But good times for you. Good couple of years at the moment since you've come back up.
Yeah, well, you can't really complain, can you? I mean, 2 7th place finishes.
We're football fans. We'll find something to complain about.
We'll find something to complain about. But when we got promoted on that Saturday in April 2 years ago, if you'd have said, you'll have 2 7th place finishes, you'll be in the top 6, 7 games in to the 3rd season, you'll have been in the European quarterfinal. I think people would have told you were mental. So I can't complain at all, and hopefully it carries on in the foreseeable future.
Well, apart from Sunday, even because of Mark McGee, I still hope. I mean, we've played. I'm just going to bring some stats up here. I mean, since we were both formed, we've played 115 times. It's pretty even there. We've won 38. You've won 43. Neither of us have really sort of got the Indian sign over each other. You know, pretty. It tends to be like, you know, we tend to win a couple, you win a couple.
Yeah. Well, I think we've kind of been quite evenly matched teams throughout our history, really, haven't we? Whether it be that in the Championship, be that in the Premier League or Division 1 and 2, as it was back in the day.
Yes.
Especially recently with the 2-0 nils last season, they were both pretty even games.
I'm going to say, and you've brought it up here. Let me just have a look at since we've been back in the Premier League. We've played each other 5 times. The second one, and we'll ignore the second one is the League Cup. No, we in fact you won that on penalties. I think we went out.
No,
You won that on penalties.
I think you won that on penalties. I think we're not very good at penalties. I'm pretty
We
sure.
may well have done. Well, we may well have done it. The stat doesn't actually show me that, but it looks yes, we could have possibly won. But we beat you 2-0 in the first game. It was that 4-3. I've still got nightmares about that game. I think we were walking it, and then you just came back and scored in the last minute. And the sight of your manager running down the touchline, almost having an orgasm, was too much to stand. But like you say, 2-0 after that. That was pretty even.
Yeah, the 4-3 was one of my favourite games I've ever seen.
Really?
Yeah, I think. I mean, obviously, as a game by itself, it didn't really mean much in the grand scheme of things. But no. I think anytime you get a last-minute winner in a game like that, and all the scenes are flying off in the stands, and the manager's running down the touchline, I think obviously from your point of view, it made you a bit sick, but from our point of view, having been on the receiving end of it a few times, it was quite nice.
Can I say it wasn't one of my favourite games? just so you know there, but I did mention him there, and I'm not sure who this guy is because or lady, could be a lady, Facebook user. Good evening. Think the Wolves manager is a class act, and he is. I spoke to my colleague on Tuesday who does the Tuesday show with me, and we were actually saying what a good manager is. Nuno Espirito Santo, one of the foreign names I can actually say, so I can't usually mention them. But how good is he for you?
I mean, you can't fault the job he's done.
No.
He's not without his flaws, I suppose, and they've shown up relatively recently. But whenever something does tend to go wrong, like it did in that West Ham game a few weeks ago.
Yes.
Yeah, he fixed it, and we haven't lost in 5 games. So, things do go wrong for him. He's not perfect, but he's done a brilliant job for us, and he works things out very quickly. And I'd say he's got quite a good tactical head on him, as he's proved in the last 3 years.
Unfortunately, the managers always take the brunt of the blame. I mean, last year, after lockdown, because obviously last season was a funny season, we couldn't win. You must have looked at us. And what did you think of us last season? There we were sitting second, looking odds on for Champions League. And was there a bit of a glee being sort of quite a local team that we were dropping down?
I don't know if it was glee. I've got a few mates who are Leicester fans, and admittedly it was quite funny seeing them tear their hair out every week. Especially that. Did you play Bournemouth when you were 1-0?
Yeah. Well, I live in Bournemouth, so that's a sore point. Yes,
that was probably the one time I did look at it and think, oh, yeah, that's actually that game was quite funny. But I think it's nice. It would have been nice to see a team like Leicester in the Champions League, like they were 5 years ago now, 4 years ago. So I think it was quite a shame that it didn't transpire that way. But it did look like something did go drastically wrong.
Yeah, but like I say, last season, as every club's got a group of fans. Rodgers as the manager was being, crucified literally, and yet this season for us, and I don't know how you follow our scores, but he's become a tactical genius. Yeah. We have the bad losses, as you mentioned your West Ham game. We had Villa and West Ham, but suddenly you look at the team sheet and you think, oh, who's he picked? And to be honest with you, and I hate to be one of those that sort of says, oh, we've got all these injuries and what have you, but we do seem to at the moment. He picks the team, and Arsenal away, at Man City, he's got it sort of spot. He's turned into Pep Guardiola this season, tactical genius.
Yeah, well, I think that's just football fans, really, isn't it? You know, 1 week the manager, whichever player it is, the owner, the geniuses, then you lose a couple of games and it's cool. Head. We've been as I don't think anyone's really called for Nuno's head basically ever, because obviously the results speak for itself. But people do question his methods quite a lot, including myself at some points, and he does always seem to turn it around. So I mean,
we're all football managers, aren't we?
Yeah.
We all do FIFA and think, hey, we can manage that club, but But we're both. I'll just bring the table up here. We're both doing really, really well this season. A top of the table clash, and that's nice to say between us. But we're sitting there. I mean, if only the season finished now, but we're sitting there in second. You're only 2 points behind us, so a win, depending on what other teams do, a win would certainly take you into. I would say, other results as they go, and it will move you up the table. And do you look at us now? Like I say, we do have these injury problems. We have virtually got a whole back defence out ill at the moment. Do you look at us and think it is a good time to be playing us?
Well, having seen what you did to Leeds on Monday, definitely not, because I mean that was a very good performance, and you did. I mean, we've both won against Leeds, so that's something you compare us on. But I mean, you did it a lot more impressively than we did. I don't think it's a good time to play. I mean, it sounds stupid saying, is it a good time to play a team that is second in the league when they've won the kind of matches that you've had? I think you've still got some key players available. Vardy, albeit he's never scored against us, but he's obviously a world-class striker. And then you've got the likes. Barnes is in good form. Fofana at the back's doing well. So it'll still be a tough game, no matter who's injured and who might not be playing.
I mean, I think we said, I look at the some of the injuries list we've got. I think, my God, we're not down to the second string. We're down to the youth stream here, and there's a couple of players for the on the bench on Thursday in the Europa that one of them I hadn't even heard of, but he does seem to be, because it's going well, he is sort of moving it around. And you mentioned Barnes there. He only came on at the end. He's again been very good with his substitutions, managing to rest players and what have you. But Barnes, dare I say, spent quite a while at your local rivals, West Brom. Is this a reason for hatred towards him for you?
Well, I think it's, from what I remember, is they were flying that season because he was only on loan for half a season. And we recalled him, and they were flying for the 6 months that he was there. And then as soon as you took him off them, it all fell apart for them and they didn't get promoted. So that's, I think, probably more you did us a favour than Harvey Barnes. Well, thank you for that. But
just remember that.
He's a good footballer. He's got his England cap now. I think he's probably one of your key players at the minute, if that's fair to say. It'll be interesting to see how he does against us, because apart from that West Ham game that we keep mentioning and probably shouldn't more, our defence has been pretty trademark as a team.
I mean, I was going to mention not particularly the West Ham game, but I mean, Harvey, depending how he sort of plays him, which is normally out on the wing, but the other week against Leeds, he played him up front with Vardy, playing off Vardy, and it was like a revelation. But you say in your defence now, is this down to? And I'm going to bring this graphic in again here, because you've scored 8, but you've let in 8. Is that because of that one game, or like I say, you feel confident in your defence apart from that?
Well, I feel very confident in them, because you say those 8 goals, 4 of them came against West Ham. And 3 of them came against Man City. So you look at the other 5 games of the season, we've only conceded 1 goal. So I think it's the basis of the team. I think everywhere that Nuno's gone, even before he came to Wolves, fans of his other clubs were saying, even if you're not getting the results, one thing that he does guarantee is that you'll keep a lot of clean sheets. You won't get caught out defensively too often, and that's proven to be the case. I think that's the back three is probably why we are where we are in terms of, you know, we don't concede too many goals, and it has been our strongest point for the last 3 years, I think.
If you don't concede, you're not going to lose. It's as simple as that, isn't it? You know. But just looking at your last 5 games there, so we're pretty even. I mean, we've sort of won, well, last 6 games, I should say. We've won 3, lost 3 at home. This is just in the league, by the way. And away, you've won 2 away, lost 3 and drawn 1. So it's all looking towards, I would say, a tight game.
Very much so. I can't call it really. I think, you know, looking at those stats, I think you have had some difficulties at home in the Premier League this season. I remember watching that West Ham game, and, you know, you looked unrecognisable to how you looked at the Etihad the week before. So, you know, if we can draw a performance like that out of you, then, you know, I give us quite a big chance. But
it's not often you actually wish you're playing away, but at the moment, it could be a case of sort of which Leicester turn up. But, you know, it's. And I know last season was pretty sort of horrendous, but this season, you know, I think anybody on the day can be anybody. I mean, you know, it's nice to see, but look where Man United are. You know, Arsenal weren't on that graphic. You know, I mean, Southampton are up there, and we put 9 past them in 1 game last season. It is a season where, like I say, on your day, anybody can beat anybody.
Yeah, and you know, that's what teams like us have to take advantage of in a way. You know, Liverpool losing 7-2 to Villa and still being top of the league. There isn't a single standout team really at the minute. And with City and Liverpool playing each other after we do, I think there's a chance for, you know, a team like us or Southampton, you know, could be top of the league by the end of Sunday and going into the international break, which is quite crazy to say. But there's a chance it could happen.
Yeah. Talking of internationals, I mean, and again, I haven't. It's been a hectic week this week, so I haven't looked at the full England squad, other than the fact that James Maddison and Harvey Barnes have been left out. So we've had the normal sort of Southgate doesn't know what he's doing sort of thing. Having said that, from my point of view, I'm happy. Feels gutted for the guys, but I'm happy because obviously it makes them fitter and less likely to get injured for ourselves. But is it Cody, the guy that's gone from himself? I mean, I did actually see him in the last game he played, and he looks a really, really, really good player.
He is. Well, he first came to us 5 years ago, and he was a central midfielder from Huddersfield. He'd been in the Liverpool academy, and, you know, he was just a bog standard Championship player. And ever since Nuno's come in, he's transformed him into this centre back who, you know, he barely puts a foot wrong all game. You know, he's the most reliable player in the team. Probably he brings so much more than actual technical ability, and that, you know, he leads a team. I think I saw an article saying that Southgate's already put him in the England leadership group after 3 caps. So I think that says all you need to know about him.
Yes.
And, you know, 4 years ago, it looked like he was on his way out from Wolves. So, you know, the turnaround is unbelievable. And you said about not wanting Leicester players to leave, but I think to go on international duties with England. But I think for us and Cody, I think it's the least he deserves, and we're all quite happy.
Oh yeah, don't get me wrong. Like I say, for those guys personally, I'm gutted for them, but it is. You know, for us, I mean, you know, we've got such a bad injury problem at the moment as it is. And Maddison went down in the game against Braga on Thursday, and he got a knee to the thigh. And you're thinking, oh God, here we go again. But Soyuncu, who has been amazing, a bit like they say, like Cody, he came from nowhere. We signed him, had a season where we never saw him apart from the odd game. Managed to sort of offload Maguire to Man United for 80 million. Thanks, Man United. And he came in, and it's like you know, who's Maguire? You know, sometimes these players, like I say, they surprise you. And but as Fofana, I mean, you know, we look at the defence, but Fofana's come in. He's only 20 in a couple of weeks, and he, you know, in all the games, I think, you know, he's looked immense, and he's really shown the defence up.
Yeah, and you know, I think a lot of eyebrows were raised, certainly from non-Leicester fans like myself, when you spent 30+ million on him. But from what I've seen of him so far, he looks like a right player.
You know, I'm going to come on to transfers now, because for our transfer window, the last transfer window, you managed to offload Ryan Bennett on us, which I think you were probably happier. I mean, that's the point, actually, because he didn't really do a hell of a lot wrong. He just never did anything good. He came in, he had one game, and again, we had these problems last year. We got Pierre out, we'd got Chilwell out when he was with us injured, and we got to the point when Soroncha was banned because of the Bournemouth game, and we brought Bennett in, and he was the only guy that we'd signed in the January transfer window, was a loan for this guy, Ryan Bennett. And you know, was he not being played because if he played so many games, we had to pay you more? But the fans didn't take to him at all. They just didn't. And you've got rid of him to Swansea again, I believe, on loan. Yeah. What? I can say he was just a sort of like a player. He was there, and he just didn't do anything really bad. He didn't sort of give a penalty away, anything like that. But they just never took to him.
That was the player he is. He didn't do a lot wrong in his last kind of games at Wolves, but he just, you know, you look at our team from last season, you think, where's the one area that you need to improve? And it was Ryan Bennett.
Yes.
I think he kind of dwindled down a bit with 2 months to go or so before we sold him to you. And you know, I was looking at deadline day on that day, and I couldn't believe that Leicester had signed him, because you look at this team who are like 3rd or 4th in the league, trying to the Champions League place, and they go and sign Wolves' 5th choice centre back who hasn't kicked the ball in 2 months, and I was baffled. But I think
not as much as we were, I tell you.
I understand that. But you said that the Leicester fans never took to him, but our fans really did. And I was one of the few that never really got it, because, you know, he's an okay defender. I wouldn't really say he's Premier League level, but I think, maybe there was just a novelty about him, and the fact that he was English and he was a bit no nonsense and he was a bit old school, that people took to him. But I think Championship and Swansea is probably about his level, to be honest.
Well, like I say, I think both of us are in agreement on that. Not often you actually get two fans going like, "Yeah, we were glad to see the back of him," and the other ones say, "Well, we didn't want him," you know. But talking of players that you probably wanted and didn't want to sell, but got a good deal for him, and that was Jota. How much of a miss, or are we reading? Are we looking? Because obviously he's somebody that I didn't know of. He's gone to Liverpool, and suddenly, wow. Well, was he a big miss?
No, that
really.
This is what I've seen a lot on Twitter, and I think it's annoying our fan base quite a lot. Is the fact that people are now he's banged in a few goals for Liverpool. People are acting as if he's this kind of world beater who we've let go on the cheap. He's a confidence player, really. You know, last season he scored in 4 games in a row in December, and he scored in 4 games in a row in February, and he did nothing else. Once he gets on a roll, you can't stop him. But the reality of the situation is that he was a very good player for us for the first 2 years, and last season he was nowhere near it for the majority. And I think to get 45 million for a player like that, no matter how good he has started for Liverpool, I think we got the better end of the deal by far. But time will tell and see if we're right if this carries on. But I can't see it personally.
to be honest, sometimes, the players move on, they go to a new club, they have a new lease of life, and they suddenly, come from nowhere. But apart from that, I mean, our sort of summer transfer window, following on from our solo Ryan Bennett transfer window in January, we sort of went for, I think, quality rather than quantity. And I think, the 3 players we've signed, Castagna, and guess what? He's out injured at the moment. Under, who looks very good when he comes on down the wing, and Fofana, amazing, and a bit of a battle with old Claude Puel, our ex-manager at Saint-Etienne, for him there. But if we just have, bring again, I'll bring your transfers up. Oh no, that's not the transfers. That's the transfers. That they were your dealings. I mean, how have they settled in? Good, bad for most of those?
Well, it's a mix at the minute. I think you look at 4 of them really, or three maybe, who were transfers for the future. Vitinha hasn't actually played yet in a league game anyway, or maybe he came off the bench once. So I can't really tell you a lot about him, but if he makes an impression, I think we can make it permanent next summer. Nori started his first game last week, and he was absolutely superb. Got a goal, which was a surprise to most people, and I gave him man of the match last week. And Silva also hasn't played much, but he's only 19, and there's a big 18, and there's a big price tag on his head now.
It
could put pressure on him. I didn't really. I mean, he might be a good player in the future. He probably will be, but I didn't really understand spending that much on an 18-year-old striker.
And the guy that you got from Liverpool, whether that was part of the Jota deal, you'll know. But Hoover, is he going to clean up for you? Bum bum. Sorry.
I'll try and ignore the pun. But it makes sense, I think, in the sense that he's made a couple of sub appearances. We needed another right wing back in addition to Semedo, and I think at his age and the price that we got for him, either 10 million quid or we're getting 35 million for Jota instead of 45. I think it makes a lot of sense.
So, what players should Leicester be looking out for? Who's gonna sort of cause us the troubles tomorrow?
Well, the obvious one is obviously Jimenez. But like Vardy hasn't scored against Wolves, he hasn't scored against Leicester. So maybe one of them will break that duck this weekend, but we'll see. But, if you're looking for lesser known players, I think Dendoncker in midfield came in after the West Ham game. He hasn't put a foot wrong. He pops up everywhere. He's got a goal threat in him. He should have had one at the King Power last season, as I think we all know. And
I think VAR got that one right.
but yeah, he could get a goal conceivably, but his defensive work is very strong as well. And also the 2 wingers, Neto and Podence, they're both keeping Traore out of the team, which is no mean feat. And they're both on top form, and they look like they could get a goal or an assist at any moment when you give the ball to them.
So I think your 2 players, or from what I could see, top 2 players last season were Traore and Jimenez. But we'll see. Hopefully, we can keep them quiet. Just before we sort of draw it back here, Europa League. You obviously got there last season, or the season before. Sorry, last season, wasn't it? You were in the Europa League. You got Braga in your group, who we didn't. We had, I'm going to be honest with you, to put it bluntly, a bloody good game against them on Thursday. To say that, although it's Portugal, they've obviously got the history, so therefore they're higher co-ed in UEFA than us, and that's why they were pot 1. Never expected a 4-0. It was a top of the table clash in the Europa League. How did you get on against them last? When you played them?
Well, we did. We actually didn't do very well against them. We lost. It was our first game. We had them at home, and we lost 1-0. But we didn't really deserve it. It was kind of a back and grab.
Yeah.
And away. it was the second to last game. We went 1-0 down very early on. Then we scored 3 pretty quickly. We were 3-1 up at half time, and we just let it slip, and it was 3-3 at the end. But the draw on that day meant that we both got through to the second round. So, I mean, it was, I'm not going to say it was a fix, but it was quite coincidental.
Never is. But a lot of people say with the Europa League, and it kind of annoys me a little bit, that people are saying, like, well, you play the Europa League on Thursday and it messes your season up. I mean, I know Burnley and possibly a few others before that where they've been in the Europa League, and that season they've done really, really bad. But, I mean, if we play on a Thursday night, we're probably not going to be playing till at least Sunday rather than a Saturday or even Monday these days with Sky and BT, what have you. It didn't mess your season up. You still had a damn good season. And you know, what are your feelings about the Europa League,
Well,
James?
I think the theory is just complete rubbish. I think, you know, you look at a team like Burnley, that I think you can call their season, the one where they came 7th, was quite a big fluke, to be honest. And it's quite a poor season in terms of quality that year. And they are never a team that are kind of built to beat European teams, and obviously struggled with it. My main problem going into it was the size of our squad, and I think I don't think your squad is as small as ours is, but it's not the biggest. People were saying left, right, and centre, you know, if we're going to have to rotate, we don't have 2 full teams of Premier League quality players, so we're obviously going to struggle. But you know, it didn't turn out that way, and I think we're both showing, we showed last season, that you can concentrate on both pretty easily. And you know, we got to the quarterfinal, which was beyond my dreams, and I think we could easily do the same, to be honest.
Well, thank you for that. I was going to say, well done. I'm one of these, and however I feel about Wolves, joking aside, you know, with the Mark McGee, who, just to remind you, used to be your manager. You weren't around. I personally, I'm one of these that if it doesn't clash with us, I do like to see English teams do well. Yeah. Possibly not Nottingham Forest. I will accept that, but generally speaking, you know, it's nice to see. Like say Wolves last season, you had a great run to the quarterfinals.
Yeah, well, I think it's maybe not true for the top 6 because they're in it all the time. But you know, you get a team like Leicester, a team like Wolves.
Yeah,
I don't really like Burnley, so I won't say Burnley. But you know, you go back to like when Fulham made the final and things like that. You know, the teams that aren't really in Europe season upon season upon season, it is better for the game if they get far in it like we did.
Yeah. And what are your hopes? I mean, everybody always says, like, oh, you know, who's going to break into the top 6? Who's going to become, you know, not one of the top 6 out? I don't think anybody ever will, because I think those top 6, they'll have the odd bad season here and there, but it's a case of who can make the top 6, the top 7. Yeah. Or make it, you know, the top 8. I mean, you know, Everton had an amazing start this season. You know, gone off the last couple of games, but you know, you've had a couple of good seasons. What are your hopes for Wolves for this season?
For this season, I think, you know, we're not in the Carabao Cup anymore. We're not in Europe. It's literally just this and the FA Cup that we have to focus on. I think I wasn't too optimistic going into the season. I thought we'd come about 9th or 10th. But I think looking at the start that we've made, I think we can easily come 7th again minimum, if not maybe 6th. And that's what I'd be very happy with.
And what, you know, looking at Leicester and sort of last season and how we've been and where we are, can we sustain it this year? Do you think we can finish top 4, or will we be just outside?
I think just outside is a certainty, to be honest. I think you'll be in the Europa League again at least. Yeah. Well, last season you looked like you were cementing the top 4 places we've discussed, and you know Liverpool were on it, Man City were pretty good, and then you had Chelsea and United who were doing okay. You look at those teams, and they're below average compared to what they were last season. Yeah. So you know, I don't think you'll finish any lower than say 5th.
Yeah.
If I was a betting man, I'd probably have put my money on Leicester coming in the top 4.
I suddenly like you. Suddenly, yeah, like you say, it is a weird season, and I will never bet on Leicester because I'm one of those. If I bet on Leicester, if we were playing Rochdale in the cup, I'd put a bet on Leicester and we'd lose. That's my sort of luck sort of thing. But I think you. I think I've seen in your profile you do have links with Leicester. Are you at Leicester or were at Leicester University?
Well, I am in Leicester at the minute. This is
right.
The King Power's about 5 minutes down that way.
I was just going to say, are you close to the King Power?
Yeah. So go down there on Sunday and see if there's a gate that I can look through or something.
Again, you're too young to remember the old stadiums, but those are the days when you could go down, climb on. Certainly for Leicester, climb on someone and get into somebody's back garden, climb on their outdoor toilets and watch the game.
It's not like that anymore, is it?
No, and you can't even hear the cheers or whatever. No. You can just see the outside of the ground. It's must be like a kid going to a sweet shop and being shut, But score prediction. What are you going to go for a score prediction?
Well, I can see it being any result, to be honest. I can't call it, but my heart is telling me that it'll be a 1-0 Wolves win.
A 1-0 to Leicester, was that? No. Well, I've gone 2-1 for Leicester, obviously. I think you never punt against your own team, do you? I've gone 2-1 for Leicester. I think, either way, you can watch now. We've said this, and it should be a good game. It'll probably be another boring 0-0 or something.
Like they always are when we play.
Well, it was last season, wasn't it? We didn't set the world right last season, Let's just have a look. There's a comment here from Facebook user. Got the bookies winning scared, only 33-1 to win the league and 12-1 for the Europa League. Well, not a bit different to 5,000-1, so it's might not be worth it. James, look, you're stuck there in Leicester. Whatever you do, please look after yourself.
I will. You too, mate. You too.
Stay safe. It'd be lovely to have you back for the return game if you're up for that.
Of course.
We meet you later in the week. I hope you can sort of get out as much. Well, say get out. There's not a lot you can do if you can get out, is there? But that you can keep in touch with your family and what have you. Thanks so much for coming on tonight and
having me.
No, you're more than welcome. I know it was short notice, but I do appreciate that. Stay safe, please, and good luck for the season after Sunday, of course.
Thank you. You too. Get the champion.
Take care, James. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Cheers.
So that was James, and thank you so much to James for joining us this evening ahead of the Sunday clash. Like I say, 2:00 kickoff. We are on Sky Sports, one of the channels that they have, and it isn't box office, so it's going to be live on the TV. 1-0, he went to Wolves. 2-1, I went to Leicester. It's been a great start for the season for both of us. Who's going to come out on top? We will find out. You've got a day off from me tomorrow. Enjoy that. I'm sure you will. And I will be back post-match, half hour after the final whistle on Sunday with my post-match guy. 4 times in a week I've been with him now. My God, that's frightening. Brad, it'd be nice to see him on Sunday. Not seen him for such a long time. Guys, whatever you do, stay safe, be careful. And good luck. And once again, if you've missed this or you want to catch up, we're going to be on YouTube, on the YouTube channel, which is Leicester Till I Die TV. We're all over social media, Facebook, Leicester Till I Die. We're on Instagram, Leicester Till I Die 1, and Twitter at Leicester TID. Just trying to quickly put one. Someone's gone there. Facebook user 3-1 to the Foxes. So let's hope that they are right. And we will definitely find out. But thanks a lot. Like I say, guys, stay safe. All the best, and I will see you after the match on Sunday. Stay safe, guys.
Hey guys, Ian Hume here, ex-Fox in the Box.
Oops.
Hey guys, Ian Hume here, X-Fox in the Box. Watch Chris and Leicester Till I Die TV and follow them on social media for all the up-to-date Leicester City news and information. Cheers.
Shut up and sit down.